Hi, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. I'm Connie Perkins, president of ANA New York, and I'm especially excited to be hosting this conversation during Nurses Week, a time to recognize not only the work nurses do every day, but also the future of our profession. Today is really about highlighting the voices of nurses who are early in their careers and already getting involved, stepping into leadership, and helping shape where nursing is headed. I'm joined by some of our members of the Young Professionals Special Interest Group, and I'd love to take a moment to allow them to introduce themselves. Delaney, would you start by sharing your name, role, and how long you've been in the field?
Sure. So my name is Delaney Sanders. I am a registered nurse in Buffalo, New York. I work at the Veterans Hospital in the ICU. I did a 1 year nurse residency, and now I am about 8 months into my first year of official nursing, so a little less than 2 years.
Great. Thanks, Delaney. Emily?
Hi, everyone. I'm Emily. I am a registered nurse, just about a year and a half. I'm a pediatric registered nurse at Cohen's Children's Medical Center, and I'm actually a part of the float team where I float to at least 7 different units in our hospital. I've always had a passion for pediatrics, and here I am.
Awesome. Thanks again for joining us. Let's jump right in. So here's my first question. What made you decide to get involved with ANA New York early in your career? Delaney, you want to start with that one?
Yeah, so I was super involved when I was in nursing school. I was the first president of my nursing association. Brand new school, brand new building, brand new to Arizona, and we had no nursing association, so we felt kind of lost in the sauce, if you will. And just starting all the way from the bottom and moving our way up from not having a nursing association. I then joined the state nursing association, joined the national student association, and I was serving at the National Student Nursing Association level. And so when I moved to New York to fulfill my service obligation at the VA, I thought, how better to integrate myself into not only the professional space, but how better to integrate myself into New York and to learn maybe some rules that I might not know, being a new nurse and a new nurse in New York specifically. So to have some professionals that I could speak to and have some people that I could look up to that I could learn how to fit in the nursing world and in the New York world.
Awesome. Awesome. Great. How about you, Emily?
So, similar to Delaney, throughout my nursing school journey, I was very heavily involved at the local and state chapter, eventually moving to NSNA as well, but as the resolutions committee assistant chair, same year as Delaney, pretty much. But I personally wanted to do ANA New York as well to continue my nursing leadership journey and also to help even guide new grad nurses and early career nurses. So that's partially like the reason why I joined to help bridge that gap from student to RN.
Yeah. Yeah, well, thanks for sharing those experiences. I feel like you guys have been super involved with ANA New York. We count ourselves as lucky. But, hearing kind of that interest at the beginning seems like it, kind of rolled into now. But it's also a great reminder that if you even weren't as involved, there's opportunity, if now you want to be. So really, really awesome. All right, next question. What's one challenge you faced as a newer nurse that you weren't expecting? Delaney, you want to start?
Yeah, so I think so. I'm a second career nurse. I was an exercise physiologist first, and I was also in EMS. So I think one challenge that I wasn't expecting was how different but similar nursing can be. It's like sometimes you think that you know what you're getting into when you go into things, but then you get into it and it's completely different. So having information that's so close to what you're doing but so different at the same time. So I thought that I was going to have an easier time integrating my past experiences into nursing, but realizing that nursing was a whole different ball game, and that although I can utilize my past experiences, I had to look at it in a different way. So being open to new experiences, being open to utilizing my resources, utilizing the people that I work with to best integrate my past experiences into my current experiences. So I thought I'd have a little bit easier of a time, but I dove right in, and I think I did a pretty good job. So
Yeah, great. How about you, Emily?
This might be very similar to everyone who's experienced transitioning from student to nurse, but everything that we learned in nursing school does transfer over. But really it is a lot of on the job training. So you may know like the signs and symptoms of CHF or know how to treat asthma, but once you step into the role, it's a really different world, and it really takes a lot of practice, a lot of learning, a lot of grace too, really. So I think the challenge was that whole transition and like really getting into the grit of it.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm sure, both of your experiences others can relate to, for sure. And good advice there too. Next question. How has being part of the Young Professional Special Interest Group helped your growth or confidence? Delaney?
So I think just being part of, and so the Young Professional Special Interest Group, for those who aren't aware, is pretty new. It started within the last year by someone who was also in the National Student Nursing Association and a colleague at the same time. And it's introduced me to people who are in the exact same headspace. People who want to be involved in professionalism, but maybe aren't entirely sure of how to get there. And I think it provides a pathway to professional experience as a nurse. So I feel incredibly lucky that it's given me not only colleagues that I can speak with, but a direct pathway to speak with some of the ANA-New York directors and people on the board that I might have not wanted to directly speak to, that I might have been a little bit hesitant to reach out to directly if I wasn't, so sometimes I can be very forward, but I know some other people may not want to reach out directly. But having people that are maybe in the same generation or people who are in the same space mindset. But then also there's a new mentorship program that's starting. And so now I'll be getting to have a mentor to guide me through my first couple of years of nursing as I transition and start my nursing career. So I think all these things are fantastic.
Yeah, great. And that was definitely, a big recommendation from you all as members. So I'm really excited, that we made our matches, and excited to hear, how that goes. So I'm confident you'll have a positive experience and really excited that you're part of it. And same with you, Emily. So you can go next.
So yeah, very similar to Delaney and kind of piggybacking off of her. Basically, I've learned that being a part of like ANA New York versus the Nursing Student Association of New York State, the student aspect and the RN aspect, it's very different. You have many different generations, all very knowledgeable and powerful in their role, very helpful. But it's also different from like a student level where we're all kind of like all the same age group mentality, I guess you can say, versus ANA New York and ANA in general, where you're dealing with, like I said, generations and people with so many different levels of knowledge, so much experience and guidance that they can bring. So joining YP, I have come across not only people in the same boat, but also people a part of the board, a part of the different committees, and even other SIG groups from ANA New York. And I've learned so much from them. So I highly recommend being a part of this amazing organization and learning from others.
Yeah. And that's certainly our goal, is to have that additional support system. You both have, echoed that, meeting people that maybe you wouldn't have before, or interacting with people that maybe you wouldn't have. So I love to hear that we're doing what we thought we were doing. So that's amazing. So thanks for sharing that. Next question. What does leadership look like for nurses who are just starting out? Delaney?
I think leadership to me, and I'm gonna bring an example. Like right now, I'm at work right now. You can see the patient and stuff in the background. And like my manager right now, I came up to her with this idea, and I think leadership is not only being open to new possibilities, but it's also helping someone build their future and build their possibilities to the height. Because taking opportunities and taking possibilities and making them a reality. And leaders are there to they can be a catalyst, they can be fuel that feeds the fire, but they can also be someone that has the knowledge to help someone move forward. And so, like I said, I'm in a patient room right now. My manager, I went to her and I said, hey, I would love to be part of the panel. I got asked to be in it. She said, sure, sit in the patient room. We'll make sure it happens. We'll support you. We'll provide care for your patients. And I think it's finding solutions, finding the possibility when maybe you wouldn't think that there is one, and having the knowledge and the able to do so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. I love to hear that support as well, on the same page. Like, how can I make that happen for you? I love that. So great example. Emily?
For leadership, for those who are just starting out, I would say it goes hand in hand with mentorship. So leadership, you're all working together as a team. You all start at different levels, different ages, different ideas. So definitely for those who do have ideas, please speak out, let it be known. But also find mentors, find people who realize you have more potential than you might think. So I feel like leadership and mentorship really go hand in hand, and I highly recommend like looking for mentors to help you realize that potential, and also to even be an advocate for you to start your leadership journey if you want to.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I feel like I always say we're at least leading ourselves, but getting that feedback from somebody else, they see potential that we can't see. So I love that, advice. And reminder, sometimes we're all leaders, but sometimes we don't look at ourselves that way. So, hearing it from somebody else is a real reminder of our potential as nurses, isn't it? So that's great. So final thoughts before we wrap up. I'd love for each of you to share one piece of advice from you for nurses who are just starting out or thinking about getting more involved. Delaney?
So I think one of the things that I really love about the YP-SIG and about ANA New York in general and connecting is that there's so many different like possibilities within the nursing realm. Like Emily on one hand is a pediatric and I'm a VA nurse. I work with only 18 plus. I only work with adults. You can be a dialysis nurse, you can be an infusion nurse, and just know that you owe yourself the tenderness and the care to who you are as a person and who you are as yourself, like as your nursing, and who you want to be as a nurse, to change careers if you want and to pursue what you want to be. Maybe you wanted to be an ICU nurse at one point, but then you realize that you fell in love with pediatrics, and it's okay to change and it's okay to grow in that way. And sometimes it might not be, you may feel like you're no longer like climbing a ladder, but ladders can be sideways. You can be stepping, you can be growing in so many different ways. You can grow outwards, you can grow upwards, you can grow. And I think so many nurses get stuck in like a hole where they're like, I'm here, that's the only thing I can do. But you can always learn. You can always become the version of yourself that you hope to be. And it's never too late to learn. It's never too late to be guided and to guide other people, and to seek out, like I said, seek out that guidance from other people. That goes into mentorship, that goes into joining professional organizations. You can join a critical care organization, even if you're not a critical care nurse. You can join a pediatric organization if you're not a pediatric nurse, if that's what you hope to do. And so my advice is to get involved, because maybe you don't know what you want to do yet, but maybe just reaching out that hand will help you get there.
Wonderful. Great. Emily?
I'm going to piggyback off of her as well. Great advice. So yeah, nursing, it is such a broad profession. There are so many different pathways, so many different ladders, so many different, specialties. You can go up to DNP, you can go to masters, you can go sideways to critical care or to labor delivery. There's so much, but one big advice, and I did say this earlier, is give yourself grace and give yourself credit. Because you have your whole entire life to figure out where you want to be and what you want to do. And it may take like many, many steps to get to where you want to be, but give yourself grace, give yourself time, and it'll come along. So that's my advice.
Yeah. Love both of those. Spoken from experience, sharing with your colleagues. I love it. Great pieces of advice for our fellow nurses. So thank you all for being part of this conversation. And Emily and Delaney, thank you for sharing your experiences. If you're interested in getting more involved with ANA New York or learning more about the Young Professional Special Interest Group, we encourage you to connect with us and be part of the community. And to all the nurses watching, thank you for everything you do, and happy Nurses Week.